There's nothing classier than a good quality watch. If you're someone with a taste for elegance and grace, chances are you've always wanted to own a valuable watch. And by valuable, we definitely don't mean a smartwatch, because expensive watches can get absurdly pricey. Today, we will be talking about some of the most expensive watches in the world. While it is true that a dollar store watch and $1 million watch will both tell the same time, there's something extraordinarily appealing about a classy watch with a vibe of its own. But how much do top quality watches cost around the world, and what makes them so expensive? Remember to stick around to the end for the best experience, and without further ado, let's get started. Number 10, we have the Franck Muller Aeternitas, which has the capacity to confound you as much as a current polling expert with 36 distinct complexities. The watch also boasts 1,483 separate components, a 1,000-year calendar, and a variety of other quirky characteristics. It might have an unorthodox taste for many people, but its 1.8 million euro price tag is no joke. The Swiss watchmaker has given the Mega 4 model, which has a glass sapphire case back and a piece of tourbillon on the dial, more features than any other ticker. Number 9, Lange & Söhne Grande Complication, coming in at 1.97 million euros. In 2013, Glasgow watchmaker Lange & Söhne introduced its most costly watch, the Grande Complication, which has taken the 9th spot in our compilation. Due to the sheer complexity of its construction, the model, of which only 6 of these have ever actually been constructed, and keep in mind that it takes almost a year to create this watch. The 20mm thick gold casing includes 876 moving components, all measuring 50mm in diameter. The Grande Complication number 42500, which is a pocket watch from 1902, served as this piece's inspiration. The revised version has a minute repeater, a grand and tiny strike, a perpetual calendar, and a rattrapant chronograph function with flying seconds, sometimes known as split seconds chronographs, which allows you to clock several events at the same time. It's an expensive implementation, and Lange & Söhne is one of the few companies that produces them in-house. Number 8, Patek Philippe Reference 2499 Platinum, coming in at 2.7 million euro. Eric Clapton formerly had this 1987 Patek Philippe watch, which he sold for 3.6 million at Christie's Geneva Important Watch Sale in 2013. He put it on display with 5 other Patek Philippe watches from his large collection, which also had some old Rolex watches. Only 2 platinum variants with 23 gems were ever produced. In fact, only 25 complicated vintage Pateks are thought to exist, according to Hodinkee, and over half of them belong to the watch mark itself. Clapton wasn't the first person to buy the ultra-rare instrument at auction, but he did get his hands on it in the early 2000s. Number 7, Patek Philippe 5004T, coming in at 2.98 million euro. The 5004T, a one-of-a-kind watch created exclusively for auction in 2013, is the only titanium version of the exquisite but now discontinued Patek Philippe 5004 line. The Swiss watchmakers made a sensation in the industry when they released the limited edition, which had a sportier, more colorful appearance than its more conservative siblings. Consider it the Fresh Prince to the Carlton of the 5004. It was auctioned off for 2,985,000 euro and has been coveted by yearning wrists ever since. Number 6, Louis Moinet Meteoris collection, coming in at 3.5 million euro. The Meteoris collection is named after Louis Moinet, the famed 18th century born creator of chronograph watches, and its stratospheric price tag is very apt. The line, which consists of 4 timepieces, incorporates precious stones and meteorite bits into the dials. Each watch has a one-of-a-kind piece of rare space rock. For example, the tourbillon Mars features a chunk of the Jiddat al-Harisis 479 meteorite, a genuine 180 million year old piece of Mars that fell to Earth. So yes, quite unique. Mars meteorites may fetch up to $1,000 per gram, which is more than 15 times the price of gold. It's the closest you'll come to experiencing space, short of flying with Richard Branson on Virgin Galactic. And he would probably talk to you the whole way and force you to drink Virgin Cola. So instead, let's go for this watch. Number 5, Patek Philippe Ref 1518 in steel, coming in at 8.9 million euro. This isn't simply a holy grail item. It's on the top rung of the Grail pyramid. Just 4 specimens of the Patek Philippe 1518 steel were ever built, and it was the first watch with a perpetual calendar and chronograph when it was debuted in 1941. It's an astonishingly complicated, uncommon, and historically significant piece by a very collectible artisan. It's a world beater on almost every level. So it's comprehensible that it fetched 11,002,000 Swiss francs, which is about 8.9 million euros, at auction in November 2016 at Philips in Geneva, setting a global record for a timepiece. 7 bids propelled it over the previous year's only watch, the Patek Philippe 5016, which sold for 7.3 million CHF, which is about 5.9 million euro. Number 4, the Paul Newman Rolex Daytona, 13.5 million euro. The Paul Newman Daytona, given to Paul Newman by his wife Joanne Woodward in 1968, it's engraved with the message "Drive carefully" in reference to his love of racing, has been considered a holy grail timepiece among collectors and fans for decades, but even the most ardent Rolex fanboys couldn't have predicted how much it would fetch at auction. King Kool's daily watch, which had a modest price tag of 1 million euro, was finally sold to an unnamed phone customer for a mind-blowing 13.5 million euro. That's roughly the equivalent of 9,030 2017 Rolex Daytonas. That made it the costliest wristwatch ever built at the time. Until number 3, Patek Philippe Henry Graves Supercomplication, 15.36 million euro. The term supercomplication is not an exaggeration. According to Patek Philippe, this is the most intricate timepiece ever created without the use of computer design in manufacturing. This one-of-a-kind piece was ordered in 1925 and given to banker and watch collector Henry Graves. It is made up of 920 different parts, including 430 screws, 110 wheels, and 70 gems. At the height of the Great Depression, Graves had a nervous breakdown after spending $15,000 on his watch. Had he inadvertently placed himself in grave danger? People would go to great lengths to obtain his watch. He pondered dumping it into a lake on his property, but his daughter talked him out of doing it. This one has broken auction records twice. Once in December 1999, when it was sold for 9 million to Sheikh Saud bin Muhammad Al Thani of the Qatari royal family at Sotheby's in New York, and again following his death in November 2014. It sold for $24 million at the time, which was somewhat more than 15 million euro at the time, and set a new record for any watch. Number 2, Patek Philippe Grandmaster Chime, 24.1 million euro. After a 5-minute bidding war, Patek Philippe's Grandmaster Chime became the most expensive wristwatch ever sold at auction after a 5-minute bidding war, surpassing the Paul Newman Rolex from earlier. The total cost was $31 million. However, because you're receiving 2 watches for your money, it may appear to be a good deal. Consider it a very expensive buy one get one free deal, since the Grandmaster Chime has 2 dials, one on the rear, and 20 various functions, including the titular chiming modes, 2 of which are patented. That's a lot of watch for a lot of money, but it's also a lot of money for a good cause. A percentage of the proceeds will be used to fund research into Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And that brings us to number 1, Breguet Grande Complication Marie-Antoinette, coming in around 25 million euro. So you've discovered a spare 25 million snuggled in the pocket of some forgotten skinny jeans, and you're not sure what to do with it. Don't worry, we've all been there. You could spend it on the Breguet Grande Complication Marie-Antoinette, which is officially the most expensive watch in the world. Work on the watch began in 1782, commissioned by an unknown admirer of the previous French queen and cake advocate Marie-Antoinette. Abraham Louis Breguet, a famous watchmaker, started the project, and his son finished it in 1827. The gold-encased glass reveals the sophisticated mechanism inside, which is based on the most cutting-edge technology of the day. Only the greatest will do for the Queenie. The problem is that they probably fussed over it for much too long. Marie-Antoinette was guillotined 34 years before the watch even saw the light of day, let alone the inside of a pocket. The watch was stolen from a museum in Jerusalem in the late 1800s and finally resurfaced in 2007. It's currently at the LA Mayer Museum, ready for you to walk in with a bag full of 50s. So there you have it. These were the top 10 most expensive watches in the world. Is there anything on the list that you would have never bought? If you could afford one easily, which one would you buy for yourself? Let me know below. I hope you enjoyed, and let us know by pressing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, click the bell. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.